Hello and welcome to Paper and Time Design. This is Katie. Good morning. So I'm here today to do a flip through of my beach journal that I recently did for a trip. It actually contains two different trips. This will be a gift to an aunt and going out today. She always hosts us at her house and we always have a blast. So this is a little thank you. With every journal that I do, I'm constantly learning. And when I get done, I always try to take a critical look at it after having it set away for a few days to really look at it and to see the things that I do differently in the next one. And I learned a lot about this one. One thing I learned is spine size counts. So this spine is too big for how many journal signatures I have. It makes it loose and doesn't open quite as smoothly as I would have liked. So that was the first thing off the list when I came back to look at it, really to say I would do that differently. These are all shells that we collected on the beach while we were in Florida. My aunt is a very bling girl. She loves gold, so I decided to, instead of doing all those antique colors, to really bring in the flashy gold with this one. So the signature comes, or the dangle comes off pretty easily. And actually probably could be worn as a bracelet. All right. Let's see what we have here. Second of all, again, with a spine that is too big, there's this gap here and causes the book not to lay exactly how I would want it to lay. Again, adding in a whole lot of bling, some great digitals. I pulled from a lot of resources. I have a tendency to use one digital kit for a journal, so everything is kind of themed. I stepped outside my comfort zone this time around and just added things that were random but still beach themed. Lovely pictures of myself and my daughter on our trip. This was just a fantastic trip. This is our first year of homeschooling, and I really wanted to have my daughter get a feel of how we can travel and do things that maybe we couldn't do if we were in a brick and mortar school. So going to Florida was one of those things. Loved the Jane Austen-y feel of this picture. I also take most of my backs of my things that are tucked in and make them nice on the back too, so that you can journal on them if you so choose. Knowing my aunt, she's going to put this out on her coffee table and just enjoy looking at it. Also, didn't make these two things. These were gifted to me when I mentioned on a Facebook page that I was doing a beach theme. So some of this stuff in here was gifted to me, which is just makes it ever so much more special when we engage in those trades and community building. And it also gives you a lot of more ideas when you have other people's things coming in and making pages to match those gifts. These were both gifts from somebody else that had done a beach theme. I believe these were as well. So some of my pictures, they're just with so many pictures that I took them and just cut them up. They don't always have to stay picture size. Some really cool designs here, and they just didn't need any embellishment. They spoke for themselves, and this was a gift as well. My daughter has a fantastic fascination with nice cars, and there's a lot of them in Florida. Lots of lace in this one, lots of making it very feminine and dainty. Found a stamp actually in Florida while we were there. I visited a thrift shop down there. Actually bought enough beach themed stuff to have to send it back. I couldn't carry it back on the plane. So always when you're traveling, hit up a thrift store because you're going to find stuff that isn't in the thrift stores in your area. Tried my hand at some of that faux vellum. Having a blast with that, although this started off a whole new addiction in napkins. So this is the napkin with Mod Podge. And here's another thing that I discovered when coming back to it and looking at it. My handwriting is not lovely. So going forward, I will probably do something where I print out something very neatly and nicely on a printer and layer it with some cardstocks and colors and make that a little nicer. Hidden paper clips. This was my very first attempt at the faux vellum rice paper, and I actually dried flowers in the microwave to add into that. I will be going back and definitely doing some more playing around with this. This is just the white ply of a napkin. So instead of using the actual napkin that has the picture on it, you peel off the second ply and you make it with that. So everything gets used, which is something I always really like. They just really had a blast. And another gift here was this piece. And I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I didn't want to glue it down because the back was just as cool as the front. So I used some binding and made it into its own page. And I thought about putting something on here, except I wanted to kind of like look like it was on the sand. So I left this page blank, but of course it could always be added to later on. Lots of stuff, lots of just little tucks and beach themed stuff, extra pictures. And of course, my last page was just a fun page. I took everything that I had left over and threw it on there and made it big and bold to end the journal. So there you go. That is my beach theme journal. Hope you enjoyed it. You all have a blessed day from Paper and Time Design.